Hello, everyone, and welcome to my WebQuest presentation for my final. My name is Tamara Memkij, and this is my final for my brain course in my Master's in Educational Technology program. So, my WebQuest is titled Building for the Bakers, and on our introduction page, we introduced the idea to our students that they are going to be part of a web development company where they will build a website for a new bakery that just opened up in town. The name of the bakery is Tasty Treats, and the goal is for them to create a presentation that is going to explain to the owners of the bakery what makes up a good website, what are some of the elements that they're going to develop for the baker's website, the cost associations, and why the bakery should choose their company to develop the website. So they're going to be tasked with creating this persuasive presentation, which is going to have to be 15 to 20 slides in length, and they're going to have to use some of the individual knowledge that they're going to conduct research on, as well as their existing knowledge of how websites are built to come up with a presentation. They're going to need to make some arguments on why the bakery needs a website, what makes up a good website. They're going to need to come up with an SEO advertising plan and also create a budget for their proposed website. And then, of course, they're going to present their presentation to the entire class, which is going to need to be 10 minutes in length, and the class will play the role of the owners of the baker when they're members. So going through the process, they will be broken up into teams of 4. They'll need to come up with a company name and review the roles that exist and decide what each member of the team will play what role they'll play, and they'll review the links here on what makes up a good website to come up with a strategic plan on how they're going to attack this and some of the elements that they're going to look to achieve. And then they'll each break into their individual research where they'll go through the particular roles. Each individual will go through their particular role, which is spelled out on their role page, as well as some information on what they should be researching around and online resources that are available for them to review to come up with the particular individual content that they will then bring to a group presentation. So they're given a structure for a group presentation. They can structure it however they choose, however it is the recommended structure, in which case they will need to present why a website is important. So this will be something that they'll need to discuss as a group. They'll bring in all their individual research. They'll create a final budget based on all their individual research, a collaborative budget, and they'll need to create an argument as to why the bakery should choose their company to develop their website. And they're also given some resources around pricing and cost associations to web development here. And then finally, they'll practice their final presentation and prepare to present it to the class. Students will be evaluated as individuals and as a group as a whole. So individually, they'll be evaluated on their research, their individual slides, and their comprehension of the content that they should have gained research on. And as a group, they'll be evaluated on the actual presentation that they make, how they work together as a group, and their individual contributions to the group slides. So between their individual grade and the addition of their group grade, they'll get their final grade, which is spelled out here under the point distribution for their final grade. We wrap up the project by thanking them for their presentation and posing some interesting, thought-provoking questions for them to think about. Do they think that they could develop the website that they've proposed to the bakery? Could they create another presentation similar to the one they did for a different business? And a recurring theme that we see throughout the entire WebQuest is what makes up a good website. And then we have our credits page where we thank some of the people who've made this possible. My professor of the brain course gave me all the resources I need to create this WebQuest, as well as the templates for putting this project together. I've had some colleagues at work provide me some information and some thoughts on how to make the WebQuest engaging and exciting for students, as well as some curriculum and standards information from my curriculum director. And as well as, in addition to all that, I had a student complete a buddy check for me, a student in my brain course, and then provide me with some positive feedback to really enrich my WebQuest. And then, of course, I list all the online resources that were available to the students and were used in the creation of this WebQuest here. On my teachers page, I cover quickly in my abstract what the WebQuest is about. And again, we pose the essential questions. We talk about some of the performance objectives. So before the students are in the WebQuest, they have an understanding of how to build a website, but they don't understand why. So they would go with some of those choices. So during and after the WebQuest, they'll have a good understanding of why they went with those choices and why those choices matter and how they make up a good website. They'll be asked to remember information throughout the WebQuest on how to build a website and previous lessons that we've covered in the course. They'll have to understand how important their role is and the role and how their role plays into the whole idea of what makes up a good website. They will need to apply their knowledge and skills from the previous lessons and relate it to the time frame and to the budgeting that they'll need to come up with for their budgeting and cost slides. They'll need to analyze the multiple options that are going to be available within their specific roles and make some decisions based on the research they're conducting and analyzing those different options that are available to them. They'll need to evaluate each other's decisions and really communicate to each other throughout the entire WebQuest to make sure that the decisions that they're making are also aligned with the decisions that their counterparts are making throughout the entire WebQuest. And of course, finally, they'll need to create the final presentation that they will then propose to the owners of the business. We have the SAMR model, so throughout the entire WebQuest, this is a very technology-driven WebQuest and hinges very much on web development. So that falls right into the redefinition layer, as it would be completely impossible to do a WebQuest on websites and the importance of websites and what makes up good websites without websites. The actual research that is being conducted on the computers is simply a substitution for research of literacy magazines and textbooks and literacy journals. And of course, we're augmenting the concept of a presentation by utilizing slides to create a more visual, impactful presentation that can use graphics and tables and things like that. That would just be harder to do if we didn't use that technology, and also allows our students to collaborate with the use of that technology. So we're using our technology knowledge. The technology knowledge is that the students are using the computers, internet to conduct research, as well as using the screen and the presentation, the PowerPoints and the projectors to showcase their presentations to the entire class. We know that multiple intelligence exists across all the learners in the class, so the entire WebQuest gives different opportunities for different intelligences to kind of be highlighted through the group work and collaboration work. It gives those students who have strengths in group and collaborative work and who like to share their ideas with each other the opportunity to flourish, as well as giving the students who are more intrapersonal an opportunity to work individually on their individual research. Creating a visual presentation that the class will have to watch gives an opportunity for those visual learners who may have not grasped a certain concept or idea when they were conducting their own research to visually watch and see other teams present it, and of course then have an opportunity to gain that knowledge. And creating a relatable scenario will help those students create a relationship to the information that they are researching, and hopefully that'll create some memories around the importance of the information that they've been researching. In regards to the content knowledge, to this point, students have an understanding of how to build websites and different technologies that are out there to build websites, but they don't understand how to apply them and why you would make certain choices over others. So this project gives them that opportunity to cover the why, which is a critical important factor in the concept of web development. Why are we going to go with certain choices over other choices in building a website? So this WebQuest covers that content specifically, and all that comes together to create a very impactful and meaningful experience, which leads to memories being formed around the content that we're trying to cover. Within the WebQuest, we're addressing different technology standards, creating digital portfolios, and producing and editing multi-page digital documents are all standards that are being covered, as well as the use of different programming languages to solve and accomplish a task, and using appropriate terms related to web development. We do have some accommodations available for those students who are not at grade level to complete this project. They can do it by simply evaluating a good website or an existing website for its good features rather than coming up with a website proposal. They can simply evaluate an existing website. For students that are above grade level, they can actually take the final presentation that they've proposed and create a demo site and actually develop out their idea. And for students who lack the resources to complete the project, such as the computers, they can always visit the Media Center and the different computer labs that are available after school. And for those students who are English language learners, they can use Google Translate to translate the resources that are being provided on the resources page for them to have an opportunity to review those resources in their native language and then come up with their slides as well. For follow-up, students can visit w3schools.com and a few other tutorial websites that kind of break apart this WebQuest in a more step-by-step manner and kind of give a clearer idea of what students should have been doing through the WebQuest. And that is my presentation. Thank you very much.